Okay, so we built a car. Now, there's obviously going to be structural damage once everyone starts using it. You start using this, wheels are going to fall off. So I'm going to show you how to put things back together with a completed car. So say I just dropped it off the table and I saw what happened. One of the wheels came off. So putting a wheel back on is not that complicated. However, it's sort of hard to realize sometimes when the bushing falls off. So before you put a wheel back on, you always have to make sure that you have the yellow bushing, otherwise the axle can fall right back off. So you drop everything on the ground. Bushings obviously very hard to find. They're bright yellow, so if you have a white tile floor, really hard to find, even on a rug. So say your axle falls off too. So what you're going to want to do is the axle goes in on the third hole. So you have two holes and then the axle. Put that back in. It'll slide right back in. Hopefully nothing else got damaged. You can put the bushing back on once you find it, if that came off too. And then put the wheel back on, and great, now you have a working car again. Okay, so say you're working with the car and somehow this bumper falls off, right? So not hard to find. It's pretty big, bright white. So you try putting it back on, and it's not fitting. And it's very frustrating because you know it fit on before and you don't have another piece like this. So this one definitely has to go there. Why isn't it fitting? And the reason for this is it's squeezed together. You see how without this bumper here, there's no support here, so it can move very easily just like this. And the whole car, you can see the whole car is just falling apart because there's no support on this side. So what we're going to want to do is push everything back into place. And these bushings, you see these, let's take the wheels off so we can see the bushings. These bushings, just loosen them up so the car can go back to an equilibrium point. And at that point, you should be able to easily put the bumper back on like that. And you can see how you can't squeeze the car anymore. Well, very much. I squeezed a little too hard. Okay, well, that goes right back in. And you can put these wheels back in very easily. And that's all good. Okay, so normally we have these long 15 supports over here. Now say you're working with the car and they fall off. Now you can see we have 3 of our 4 beige connectors in, because sometimes the connector gets stuck in here when these fall off. So what we're going to have to do is, if it somehow fell out of here too, we have to find these connectors because it won't hold in properly without all 4 connectors. Once we find them, we put the connectors back in first. Make sure the axle side goes into the part down here because the round side will not actually fit. Make sure they're all 4 are facing up like this. Make sure they're not like over like that or that, because you can't put it in. You could actually put it in upside down like that, and that just doesn't even make any sense. Make sure you're on the top of the robot so they're touching like that. And do one at a time. And you're going to have 2 extra spaces on either side of the peg. And it's a little hard to put in because they're not connected. Just gently push until you get them both lined up, and it should go in pretty easily. And do the same thing. You have 2 spaces on either side, 2 empty spaces. It goes into the third hole. And make sure it's lined up, push, and you're all good. Just like that. Okay, so say you're working with the car and these supports fall off that hold these 15 hole long beams in. So what you're going to want to do is identify the back of the car, and the back of the car is the side with the larger bumper, this side. You got these pegs sticking out here. Anyway, so take off this wheel, or this wheel, doesn't matter, and you can see there's one hole here and one hole here. The closest peg goes into that hole, so there's 2 spaces in between the peg and the axle. So you got 2 spaces there, 2 holes. And on the other side, you put it in so it fits just like that. So there should be 4 holes, 2 holes in between each black peg, so 4 holes total. And it is off center, so make sure you pay attention to where it is. We can put that wheel back on. We can take off this wheel now, count 2 holes, and we know that peg goes in right there. And 4 holes over from that, the other black peg goes in. So if we look over here, there's 2 holes in between the 2 black pegs. And we can put that wheel back on. And now we put these white beams back on. I showed you how to do that in another video. Just like that. And now we have a working car again. Make sure there's 2 empty holes on either side of these beige pegs. A little hard to get in. And if these beams just end up like this, you can just easily push them back together like this. So you can put the weight on.